Men först ska jag alltså prata med Mahdieh Golroo, journalisten och kvinnorättsaktivisten som själv suttit fängslad på grund av sin kamp för mänskliga fri- och rättigheter i Iran. Mahdieh kom till Sverige under 2020 och fick då skydd som fristadsförfattare i Sandvikens kommun. Nu bor hon i Malmö och just idag så är hon här med oss i Stockholm. Welcome, Mahdieh. Do you want to tell us something about yourself, about your life here in Sweden right now?
Yeah. Hello, and thank you for inviting me for talking about my life and my country and brave women in Iran. I live in Malmo nowadays, and after a long time, I feel security, safety, and so it's coming to Sweden was my turning point in my life because I could experience many things that was new to me, and it was really great experience to me. Although I prefer to live in my hometown, but I love Sweden.
Can you tell us about your own experience of the Iranian regime's oppression before you came to Sweden?
Yeah, it's a long story and sad story. But I was born in a religious family, and I have started my activity as a student activist. So my struggle with the patriarchy and dictatorship government was the same time from my teenage years. Because in the same time, I have to have a struggle with my father. My father is a mullah, and my family was very, very religious. And with the society, with the dictatorship government and patriarchy, Islamic patriarchy, I have started my activity as a student activist. I held some magazine in university and a group of girls students for support the women rights and girl rights in university. And so because of that, I ban of education.
You didn't get to read
Unfortunately, no, but I hope in Sweden I could finally continue my education. And yeah, I studied economic in the university. And the economic was a very, very male field. But me and some other of students who believe to equality and feminists, we start to make a group of students for freedom of speech, defense of human rights and women rights. And we held many workshops, speech, demonstrations, sitting, and finally I was education banned and I was arrested among the demonstration in the university. I was just one girl among the other activists that was all of them were men. And one of the question from the court was, I can't. The court, the judge told me, why you are between the men? Why? And they, my fault and my crime was more than my friends who were boy.
Because you were a woman.
I was a political activist, woman political activist, woman protester, and they were, and the patriarchy and the political and patriarchy country can understand and can accept men as a protester, but about women, their rules is more strict than others. Than men, and not just women, about the LGBTQ plus. It's really horrible situation. And yeah, the last time I was arrested, it was because of demonstration in front of the parliament. So now we are in parliament, but the parliament is my trauma, because one time that I was the last time I was arrested, it was in front of the parliament. It was a serious acid spray attack in different city in Iran. And me and some of my feminist friends make a demonstration and
Against that.
against the acid spray attack in front of the parliament and say you should pass some rules against violence against women. And I was arrested, and I was around 6 months in solitary cell in those time. And finally, after more than 1 decade, I arrested, released, education banned, and finally I found I'm not younger as I was, and I couldn't tolerate prison again. And I had to flee my country. I went to Turkey because just there is some country that without visa we can go. And I went to Turkey in the middle of the corona duration, really, really tough time in the world. But I was lucky because the Pain and Icon program in Sweden invites me in the that duration. I couldn't believe how long I should stay in Turkey, but they invited me to Sweden and I come here.
And how was that? You said you were in solitary in prison. It means you were all alone, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Were you afraid for your life?
Yes, of course. All of us, even some people who are really, really brave, we afraid of many things, but we know some things is our priority, our freedom sometimes, our rights. And I believe when you find some truth, you can't hide that, you can't forget it. I have tried several times. I tried to forget every bad thing about the government, about my family, about the patriarchy. But honestly, when you find the truth, you can't forget it. So yes, I afraid that many times, and I couldn't imagine come out of the prison and become released. We don't have anything. It's just a room without anything, and without light, without window. You can't recognize day after day and what time is it, without telephone, without any connection with out of the prison. Yeah. And everything that they say you believe. For example, they say your mom dead, your husband confessed against you, or everything, because you
they
don't
can tell
have
you anything.
you don't have any connection with out of prison. So they can make you under pressure as they want.
The strict dress code for women is probably the most well-known and visible aspect of the oppression against women in Iran. But there is, of course, a lot more. Can you explain a bit more of the injustices and limitations that women in Iran suffer in everyday life?
Yeah, as you say, is visible, mandatory hijab. But when you can't make a decision about your dress, how can make decision about your other part of your life? For example, I want to say some things about my life in Sweden. I learned bicycle riding in Sweden because it's forbidden in my country. Women can use bicycle. So it's not visible because anybody doesn't care about who can use bicycle or motorcycle. But women can't be a president, or judge is completely illegal because women make decision by according to the Islamic patriarchy, women make decision by their emotion. So can't make a great and big decision as a parliament, as a a president, as a judge, and we need to allow and we need the permission of our husband or our father for going to work and have a job, going to university, going to a school, go abroad, or where we live and where we rest. And even we can't have our children custody after divorce. And we can't divorce without the Islamic court permission. And all the right is with man. And for example, now I'm here in Sweden, but this kind of rule affect on me. How? Because my mother can't come out from Iran for visiting me because the permission for traveling for my husband and for my mother is belong to my father, and my father are against me, and it support the government, and don't let my mother have a passport. So it's really complicated. All over the world, you are under pressure because this kind of rules. And when you can't have a job, you can't make money. And you can't be an independent person. And all the time you have to lie to man in some country like Iran. And we can't be a singer. We can't go to and many kind of sport is forbidden. As you know, for example, swimming need to some special dress, or dancing, it's completely forbidden. And yes, I can't say in the one word, women are second citizen in Iran. And it's exactly like apartheid. And we have many kind of rules, but except for women. Yeah.
So women can't bicycle, can't work, can't make money, can't be elected, can't be anything. What does women do to talk with each other? Does you go to the cafe?
They're fighting. Our fighting as a women in Iran start when I woke up. Every morning when I wake up and wearing the dress code for going to a school, university, job, or everywhere, or for shopping even, our fighting starts. But many years ago, or for example, 20 years ago, the Islamic Revolution was powerful then. And their ideology, their media was completely blank them. Without social media, without satellites, without internet. So they have television and radio and all kind of media, and fed the people with fake news, fake theory about women, about human rights, and about other country in the world. According to their news and their media, all over the world are fighting with the Islamic regime in Iran.
Everyone's the enemy.
Yeah, everyone's is enemy. And that's why in 20 years ago, we were in minority. Some women that want go to work or university, or doesn't like wearing dress code like exactly something that the government like, were in minority. But after internet duration and nowadays new generation know all the details about other countries. They understand what is democracy, what is the freedom speech, what is the normal life, what is their rights. And that's why now all kind of social media are filtered in Iran. All kind of.
They don't want you to see.
Yes, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all kind of social media. But in comparison with us, new generation can use VPN easier than us. They can find a way. They can make a way for break the limitation and use social media and say their words. And that's why I think people now are more awareness in comparison with past. And that's why we see the protester and demonstration are bigger and bigger than before.
Yeah. And we, in September, we all saw this very brave men and women in the streets. But lately we get fewer reports on the protests in Iran here in Sweden. How is the current situation today? Are the protests still going on as strong as they did in September, October?
Yeah, the government arrested more than 5,000 people in a street and injured several hundred people, and unfortunately executed more than 10%, 10 young men. And that's why make a heavy pressure on the society and make a terror, make a fear in the society. But we can see it's not finished because I believe when the society become awareness about some cruel, brutal in the government, and they understand how is their rights and how much they have power. You know, in a dictatorship government, people think we don't have any power, because the government all the time try to make atomize the society and make people alone, don't trust together. But during last months, people find each other. Many people find each other, support each other, trust to each other, and help to family of prisoners. It was really like a miracle. Under dictatorship government, people can't trust together. But now in Iran, people help together in this kind of situation, demonstration, or family of the prisoners. It's a really great change. And that's why I think the first step of the revolution happened. The revolution in the people.
Inside of them.
Yeah, inside the people. Now, during years, the government tried to make discrimination between men and women, poor and some other people in the big city and a small city. But during last months, all the people in the Iran support each other.
Going together.
Out of Iran, support people in Iran. And now I think it's the new area in Iran. People help together, and it's the first step for revolution. And the next step is the government change, and it takes time.
Yeah, and that's my last question. Do you think that you say this is the first step of the revolution, and do you think the regime will fall eventually?
Yes, not just the Islamic regime in Iran. Any kind of dictatorship government can't be endless. One day they death. It's a fact. And on the other hand, I think the Islamic regime in Iran have many crises, social crisis, economic crisis because of the high corruption, and political crisis because of the international relationship with other country and with neighbors country. So any government can tolerate all the crisis. So finally, the government have to give up in front of this kind of problems. So I think it's the time for changing in Iran, and it will happen. But something that is important in the other country, especially Western country, know human rights and women rights should be our priority, not oil or gas.
Yeah, and that's my last question. What do you think is important that we people outside of Iran do to support your cause and the freedom and rights for women in Iran?
I think some government like Islamic regime in Iran make a fake picture of life, especially women in Middle East. And in this way, other activists all over the world think our culture, its hijab, its execution, and but nowadays, I think that's why I say the revolution has happened, because women in Iran can break the border and can break the fake face of women in Middle East. And after a long time, people out of the Iran can find, wow, the hijab wasn't a culture. They doesn't like hijab. They believe to equality, and it's very, very important. And it's important. I don't want anything from the government, but the activists can help to make our voice power and power. And it's very important, especially about feminists, human rights defender, support people in Iran. And don't believe the propaganda of Islamic regime, because they have oil, they have money, they have gas, so can make a big propaganda. So it's a hard responsibility, but I think one of our responsibilities that break the propaganda.
So thank you so much for joining us this show today, Mahdieh. Good luck with the struggle for different and better Iran, and good luck to you and your continued work here in Sweden.
Thank you. I hope peace for all over the world, especially my homeland.
Thank you.